Good morning. I am back at it again. Like I said, I've been back from the U.S. maybe a week or so. Good to be back in a lot of ways. Some of my thoughts on coming back to the Philippines after basically 2 months in the U.S. I'm happy to be here in the Philippines, but I do have mixed feelings. I did miss friends here. I did miss the cheaper prices. I think the only thing that was higher, or that is higher, that I found really that I noticed was fuel. At least the places I was at. This is probably a little cheaper than California, but definitely not as cheap as the Southeast or the Midwest. Also, Western products. Western products are a lot easier, a lot cheaper in the U.S., of course, and get a lot more of the products that you use. Well, over here, it's kind of hit and miss. Like at Royal or Pure Gold, they might get something in for, say, a big shipment of something, whatever it is. And then it won't be around again once it sells out, which usually doesn't take too long if it's a popular product. It could be another 6 months or even a year before that product arrives again. I know when I came back this time, two of the things we brought back, they actually had it here, which they haven't had it in a very long time. So like I said, it's hit and miss, but I'm glad we got some of the products we needed that we used often. I think one of the products I forgot to ship, that I should have shipped, is Pepto-Bismol. That comes in handy over here quite a bit. So, yeah, that's one of the things. Another thing I miss being over here is I miss traveling across Southeast Asia. It's much cheaper. I know for a lot of my Filipino friends, they tell me it's cheaper for them to travel outside of the Philippines than within the Philippines. It's just cheaper, is what they found. I kind of found the same thing too. Even if you have to buy a ticket to go over to, let's say, Vietnam or Thailand, it's still cheaper than traveling, taking a vacation somewhere in the Philippines if you want to stay at a decent place. I will say my anxiety was lower in the U.S. Back here, driving will cause the anxiety. Some things, you just kind of scratch your head at and move along. And it will be an adjustment period for me here back in the Philippines, or to hit the ground running, so to speak. It's pretty much rain nonstop. A few breaks, a couple days. It didn't rain all day, but pretty much every day we've had rain, and quite a bit of rain. As most people know, if they're here in the Philippines, it's just been one of those rainy seasons. I've seen it where you didn't get a lot of rain in rainy season. I've had those kind of like this year so far, where it just constantly rains, and that's kind of where we're at now. Hopefully, eventually, soon, we'll be rain free, at least for a good little break. I hope so, but you never know this time of year. Another problem I'm having is communication when I got back. Since I've been back, Wi-Fi is I don't know, where I live, around the Longapo area, I've had no internet or only partial internet. 5 out of the last 8 days, I haven't had it, or very much. A few days it was totally out. It even went out today, earlier, and it's still out. And I have PLDT. It hasn't been very good where I live. I know it depends on the area and what provider you have, but for me, PLDT has been absolutely horrible, and I don't know. It doesn't seem to get any better. I know we used to have more of a problem on the weekend, and now it's just constant. Before I left to go to the U.S., Wi-Fi or the internet was out about 5 days right before I left, and now since I've been back, it's been out a lot. So it's pretty frustrating. But so like I said, it's kind of hard to hit the ground running between the rain and, for me, the lack of Wi-Fi. What I didn't like about the USA was the prices and the overall cost of living. Very high, which I've talked about before. I won't really rehash that in this video. What I did like about the USA, being closer to family, more organized driving, availability of product, being closer to sporting events, and the beaches. Even though there's nice beaches in Southeast Asia, there are very nice, being more from Florida, there's a lot of good beaches in Florida. Very pretty. And there are pretty beaches, like I said, within the Philippines and within Southeast Asia. I've seen pretty beaches in Vietnam and Thailand, but the beaches are good there. So that is kind of a wash between there and here. The USA and Southeast Asia have beautiful beaches. Now I'm trying to decide, should I stay in the Philippines? Should I go to the USA? Should I go somewhere else in Southeast Asia? Well, the answer to that is really going to be determined by where my daughter goes to school next fall of 26. So at that point, I have to make a decision, probably later this year. If she goes in the USA, I go back for 8 or 9 months and then come, over to Southeast Asia and travel around for a few months or go elsewhere. But if she went in the Philippines, then, I'd continue to live within the Philippines probably as a base and still travel Southeast Asia. But it looks more and more like probably be doing 8 or 9 months in the U.S., probably Florida, and then I'll be traveling the rest of the time and take it from there. We'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy the Philippines while I'm here as much as possible. And like I said, it's a great base, the Philippines, for traveling elsewhere in Southeast Asia. It really is. So you always need a base, I think, where you're at. So if you like to travel, you got a place to come back to and go out of. So that's Philippines is good for that, especially, the area I'm at, Subic Bay. Manila's a little big, too much going on, but at least, you can get many places from Manila. I know Cebu City is getting a lot more, Cebu in general is getting a lot more flights, even international flights. So that would, if you like to travel, that would be a consideration for, somewhere to make a base. But we'll just see what happens. But other than that, that's about all I had to talk about today. Just some of my opinions about, was I happy to come back to the Philippines? Yes and no. I was enjoying certain things in the U.S. I was enjoying seeing some family. It's hard to see, because, I'm over here, they're over there. So that was nice, very nice. And then just, like I said, a little bit more stability over there. Driving is a lot better over there. And a lot of the stuff I was used to before I moved over here was good. Like I said, but the prices will hit you and hit you hard. I know why I came back here and I did a couple things. I was like, wow, that's what I missed. Like I said, I missed friends. I missed just I call it cheap, cheap to live, to do things that is not cheap in the U.S., such as eating out or going out much. In the U.S., I'd have to budget a lot more than, here. Here, it's just a lot easier to go and do things. But that's just my 2 cents. Everybody's different. But anyway, thanks for watching. I got another video coming out probably about maybe banking. Also, I've got a little bit another housing area come as soon as the weather improves a little bit, so I can get out and really show it. It's kind of hard when it's pouring down rain. You really can't see stuff as good. So that one might be on hold. But the other video too I have in mind, I can do those. So those should come out soon. I'm trying to do only videos, once a week, twice at the most. I do shorts a lot when I'm not doing my regular videos, so I'm doing shorts. A lot of them's food related, but other stuff too. So I don't know if you check those out, but I do a lot of those. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoy my videos. Take care, always.